You ever seen a man so calm under fire you'd swear he was made of stone and stubbornness? That's my grandfather, Henry Calhoun. The morning everything started, he stood on the edge of his dock wearing nothing but his ragged jeans and a sunburn fierce enough to toast marshmallows on. In one hand was a trout he'd just yanked from the lake. In the other, a can of Skipper's ale. Then came the HOA president, Maureen Lavelle, arms flailing like she was directing traffic in a hurricane, and a bewildered deputy following behind. The officer, squinting at Grandpa through mirrored sunglasses, turned to Maureen. So let me get this straight, you dialed 911 because he was whistling while fishing on his own dock. Grandpa took a sip. Wasn't just my dock, son. I own the whole shoreline. Bought it before you were born. That got the deputy's attention. See, I'm Caleb Calhoun, digital illustrator and occasional day loser to deadlines. Grandpa, though, he's sharper than a boning knife. Built his cabin in Elderwood Point back when the lake was wild, the trees were taller than telephone poles, and you had to swat at real bears, not bylaws. Now the area's been turned into Whispering Pines Estates, where residents think nature should come with bug zappers and Wi-Fi. Leading the charge was Maureen Lavelle, a retired etiquette coach turned HOA president, who believed property value was more sacred than scripture. Her commandments included no visible laundry, no bright colors, and absolutely no outdoor music, except approved classical playlists at acceptable volume. Grandpa's favorite saying to her, "Been here longer than your condo." 3 years ago, Maureen moved in, ran for HOA president unopposed, and immediately passed 20 bylaws, one limiting outdoor decor to earth tones. The conflict began with a letter so formal it might have been notarized by God himself. It warned that shirtless seniors during daylight hours were an eyesore. Grandpa used it to clean fish. Then she came for his dock, calling it an unregistered structure. She labeled his old canoe a non-approved vessel. Cited him for feeding ducks she called avian invaders. Wrote him up for bamboo wind chimes his late wife had made. Even called the sheriff when he played his harmonica at sunset. Her biggest stunt, trying to shut down his 4th of July fish fry, a decades-old tradition, calling it an unlicensed event. Health inspector showed up, ate a plate and a half, and told Maureen to take up birdwatching. Grandpa didn't care. He'd seen worse, 3 wives, 2 wars, and 1 neighbor who tried to convert him to veganism. But then came Saturday morning. I was visiting, sipping coffee on the porch when 2 HOA goons in branded polos walked toward the dock with a chain and a sign declaring it property of Whispering Pines HOA. "Morning, fellas," Grandpa called. "You fellas lost. We're here on HOA authority. This dock violates our bylaws and is impounded." Grandpa put down his rod like it was a rifle. "And what authority does your book club have over my land? HOA owns the common shoreline," one said, already looping the chain. "Really now," Grandpa said, pulling out his phone. "Time to call Doyle. My lawyer. Loves a good HOA drama." Turns out, when the original resort folded in 1982, Grandpa bought the entire eastern bank. Every square foot, recorded, surveyed, and stored in the dusty vault of the county clerk's office. As Whispering Pines grew, they built trails, benches, kayak racks, even a Bluetooth-enabled gazebo. All on Grandpa's land, and he let it happen. Never said a word, just watched, waited, until now. Maureen had called the cops over what she called aggressive paddling behavior. The responding officer, young Deputy Ramirez, showed up expecting a disturbance, not a history lesson. Maureen presented a binder thicker than a church Bible, including a photo of Grandpa's back she claimed was public nudity. "He's threatening the peace with beer, fish, and indecent whistling." "I was pouring one out for my wife," Grandpa said quietly. "Been 20 years since she passed. Every year, I share a drink with her at this lake." Deputy Ramirez paused. Maureen didn't. "That's environmental contamination," she barked. "I demand an arrest." "Officer," Grandpa said, "might help to confirm whose dirt we're standing on." An hour later, the shoreline looked like a county fair. Surveyor, record clerk, even Judge Benton in golf gear showed up. The verdict: every dock, bench, and sign was on Henry Calhoun's deeded land. "This isn't possible," Maureen sputtered. "You used HOA funds for upgrades on someone else's land." The judge asked. That's when Deputy Ramirez raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am, that's misappropriation, possibly fraud." Grandpa just stood there, sipping his Skippers, cool as ever. Didn't mind the trespass, didn't even ask for back rent. But chain my dock, that's war. A formal investigation followed. Maureen tried rallying the board, but most were too busy realizing they were standing on another man's land. Grandpa's lawyer sent a cease and desist. Remove every unauthorized installation, 3 gazebos, a yoga nook, and the infamous Bluetooth gazebo. Whispering Pines, lawyer took one glance and said, settle and hope he doesn't ask for 10 years of rent. The removals began Monday. Maureen stood across the street like she was witnessing the fall of Rome. Then Grandpa went for the jugular. He leased the entire bank to the Elderwood Anglers Club, a ragtag group of retirees who turned it into a paradise. Private property of Henry Calhoun, fisherman extraordinaire, the sign read. No trespassing. Maureen cried foul, claimed adverse possession, city interference, even made a slideshow titled, Weaponizing Water Access. City attorney ended it fast. Ma'am, he owns it. End of story. But you using WA money for this? That's the actual issue. Then came the news segment. WA tyrant versus the fisherman. It exploded online. Footage of Maureen lunging at a mic shouting about a fishing conspiracy became a viral meme. The audit found over $68,000 in WA funds spent on Grandpa's land. Charges followed. In court, Maureen stood trembling in a beige suit. How do you plead? It's a conspiracy, she cried. Not guilty. Then, the judge said. Bail set at $10,000. Trial was swift. Her own records sealed her fate. Guilty on all counts. Probation, 300 community hours, and $45,000 restitution. As she gasped at the number, the judge said, should have kept your hands off someone else's land. Grandpa's dock stands tall. Wind chimes ring. Fish fries back on. In Maureen, she's banned from the shoreline she tried to rule. Justice served, one trout at a time,